Ready? Rabbi said we're doing quick Chazarah on Yerushalmi Peah. We're up to Lamed Beis on Beis actually. Now we were talking about a person giving gifts, and you're giving matanas together with land, and we're talking about a person who's chibmara and whether he's got shtar or not. The Chacham said even with words. Usually a kinyan agav, like a healthy person, you can't give something until you have land and movables in one place. But this chibmara could give land in one place and movables in another place. But then they said, well, actually, it's to do with Rabbi and the Rabbanon, the different opinions about that, whether Shchibmara of Rabbi is like a bore according to the Chachamim, as far as giving gifts and so on. Anyway, we've learnt that you can actually give movables together with land, even if they're not in the same place. Rabbi Kiva said a small bit of land is Chayav Peah and Bikurim, a small bit of land, what is it good for? So you could put one stalk on there, you could put a jewel in that area. Okay. Someone who's giving away, a shchimra is giving away things. He leaves a bit of land for himself. The gift is a gift if he gets better, because he left a bit for himself. And he's not got this illness too bad, because usually when someone's ill, the family comes straight away. The other people come after 3 days. But if it's really bad, then anyone can come straight away. And they bring a story about this where someone said, oh, he should have come early. He shouldn't have waited for 3 days. Now, if someone needs land for a tiny bit for himself, the gift is a gift, even if he got better. If he doesn't leave any land for himself, then the gift is not a gift, providing he got better. Because if he gave everything, he thought he's not going to get better. Therefore, since he got better, the matana is cancelled. Rabbi Rav Huna said the name of Rav, that the words of Shchimara is like a bori who gave a gift if he died from that illness. But if he got better, then the gift is not chal. And also, it's only when he actually, let's say, he's giving a field, he says exactly where the borders are. Mm-hmm. And he said, give this field to so-and-so. But if he says, give half a field to so-and-so and a half a field to so-and-so, and we don't know which field and which borders, what is that? Maybe he has to say half in the north to so-and-so, half in the south to so-and-so. We don't know. Now, if he leaves metaltalin and not land, then it's as if he's left nothing behind for himself, because you can't really feed yourself from metaltalin. But then, wait a minute. I mean, you might have a tiny bit of land. You're telling me a tiny bit of land you can feed yourself, but a tiny bit, what can you feed yourself on that? Whereas you have jewels and things, then you can feed yourself with that. So, next piece, actually, we're on Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph now, yeah? So, if a person gives a gift through a Maser Kinyan, now what's the din? Is that matnas shchibmara? If he gets better, it's cancelled. If he puts a kinyan there, within the shtar, like he wrote that they will makneh through a kinyan. So Rabbi says, look, he knows the shchibmara can give things even with words. You really don't really need a kinyan, so why bother putting a kinyan? Maybe to make it like a matnas bari. So even if he gets better, the gift is still a gift. Now, what about if he leaves servants behind? Is that like land or movable? So we bring the famous quote from the Yerushalmi here. Rabbi Yudan bar Pazi de Barzalai said a brisa about this, but we don't know what he said. Classic Yerushalmi there. That he mentioned something, and we want to mention that he mentioned something, even though we have no idea what he said. Now, then we have machlokes about a gift of a shchibmara. A person gives everything to one person, and then he changes his mind and gives a tzavah to someone else. So the question is he cancelling the will? So Rav says you can't cancel it, and Rav Abba Bar Chana, Bahuna said you can cancel it. Now, what's the case here? Let's say the first Rav, it depends, let's say the Rav was a shchibmara, the first owner was a dying, and the second one, and let's say he was a Cohen, and the first receiver was a Cohen, and the second receiver was Israel. So can the servant eat truma now? So according to Rav, the servant can eat truma because it will go back to the original owner, who's a Cohen. According to Rabbi Bar Huda, Rav Yochanan, he can't eat truma because they hold, no, it goes to the second receiver, who's Yisrael. Everyone agrees, if the first owner was Yisrael, then he can't eat truma at all, because maybe he'll get better and the servant will go back to him. We support Rabbi Bar Huda, Rav Yochanan, the Bari writes a will and the Shchibmara writes a gift. They can go back on it. And if he writes a daitaki, a certain type of will, he can go back on it. And he's healthy when he goes back from his gift. But similarly, Shchibmara who writes matana can go back on it, and he's still a Shchibmara, he can go back on it. Basically, he can change his mind from his gift. What is a daitaki? And we use the lashon here, data hey lilias v'lamod. Okay. Turning to page Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. What's matana is where you say everything is given to so and so as a gift from now, and he can't go back on that. Okay, if they have a lashon of mehayoim in the gift of a shchibmara, then do we say he can go back on it or not? Maybe it's like saying like while he's still alive. Maybe anyone agrees he can't go back on it. So we have a story where Rav Gurion's sister wrote everything to one brother, and then another brother went and said, "Oh, give it to me instead," and she ended up giving it to him. The story came to Rav Imi, and he said, "Yeah, Rav Yochanan said this. Didn't Rav Yochanan say that? You can't go back." And Rav Elad, and then Rav Yochanan, you can't go back. Yeah, he said, that's right. You can't go back if you use the Lashon Ma'ayod. One who writes nechasim to his children in a will, and he gives his wife a tiny bit of land. So Rav says, where you're using to give to the children through the wife. Shmuel said, no, it's in front of her. And so there's a kula and ksuva here. So even if she wasn't there when he divides it up, as long as he says, take this land for your ksuva, and that's it, then and she doesn't object, then that din applies. Kapara also says it's a kula and ksuva. Rabbi Bar also said, the reason is not only it's even a ksuva of 100 or 200 zuz, but even a ksuva of 1,000 dinar, the same din would apply, and it's a kula of a ksuva. One who writes nechasim to his servant, halacha ches. One who writes nechasim to his servant, then the servant goes free. If he leaves a bit of land for himself, then the servant does not go free. Rav Shimon said, no, he's ben chorin until he says, look, everything's given to so-and-so, my servant, except 1/10,000. Rabbi Yasser, if you leave metalton for yourself, that's nothing. The servant doesn't go free, because you didn't say which metalton you're leaving. Maybe he left the servant for himself. Rav Shimon said he is free, and when the story came before Rabbi Yossi, he said, yeah, that's correct. Okay. Let's stop there, please. Thank you.